Steady now.
While there's some negativity around games borrowing mechanics from others, often resulting in their being dubbed a clone of their inspiration, it's worth noting that games sometimes crib from others for good reason. Taking inspiration from the likes of God of War, Zelda, or Portal certainly makes sense, as they've garnered critical acclaim for their innovations. However, it's relatively rare that a game borrows from a multitude of sources. Darksiders was one such game, taking elements from these three disparate series and more besides. It could have been seen as messy and derivative, but Visual Games managed to meld all these parts into a cohesive whole, and a really fun one at that.
What in heaven's name have you done?
I answer the call.
The end is here for humankind, as Darksiders takes place during the apocalypse. The destruction of Earth comes as unexpected from all parties involved, including War, who finds himself called upon without his three fellow horsemen of the apocalypse. Failing to quell the invasion, humanity is rendered extinct, and the world is left as a crumbling ruin, overrun with demons.
Then, the Third Kingdom is lost.
Framed for inciting this war and tied to a leash by a sinister demon, War must return to the remains of Earth and root out those who caused this. It's a summer blockbuster style narrative, replete with over-the-top voice acting and Hollywood style camera cuts that prove entertaining, if not serious. As long as you bring the popcorn, you should have fun. Fans of God of War may feel a sense of deja vu, as its opening level feels eerily similar to those, a linear tutorial which gives you a taste of your ultimate power before stripping it away.
What is happening?
But the destruction of New York around you certainly makes for an explosive start. Things soon open up, as there's a fairly vast open world to explore that starts with many paths blocked. Those not keen on backtracking will at least find ample reason to explore at least, as plenty of treasures and upgrades can be collected with a full power set. Special armors and modifications for your weapons are particularly worthwhile. You're looking at around 14 hours to completion, with seeking out those hidden goodies bumping it up to around 20.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Combat hits with force. War can perform both light and heavy attacks and grab smaller foes to regain health, though naturally the latter has no effect on bigger opponents. While crowded fights see little use for it, you can focus on a single foe as the lock-on swaps to a letterbox format a la Zelda, which is handy for boss encounters. You can also time a parry with certain strikes and dash out of unblockable moves. Combat options grow as you play, with the sword being accompanied by a scythe and tremor gauntlet which get mapped to the Y button. Each can be bolstered by additional moves brought in the shop, as well as usage levelling up their potency. There's a great deal of variety in combat between this, being able to utilise environmental objects such as cars like an ECW brawl, and a slew of different foes with varying strategies. The bosses somewhat disappoint as, despite their scale, they often prove basic to overcome, as they rely on gear gained in the prior dungeon and a repetitive pattern of defeat. Darksiders also offers some novel puzzling, often utilising a slew of gear acquired throughout the game. The Crossblade throws like a boomerang and can detonate explosives. An Abyssal Chain allows you to grapple across key hooks, and the Voidwalker allows you to create portals through special surfaces. It's certainly a strange combo, as you can see the influences of Bionic Commando and Portal, but somehow they gel together very well. The puzzles start off pretty basic, but novel at least, but once you gain further gear and dungeons start to require multiple equipment combinations to progress, it gets really satisfying. Outside of maybe a couple of pieces of gear, most of your equipment sees continued use until the end, which is great. The only other major element comes from very occasional platforming, usually using a glide to hover higher. The controls and war's lumbering size made them slightly awkward, but at least they are rare.
Until this is over, you're a dog on a leash. I say bark, you bark. And if I have to kick you, you'd better not bare your teeth.
Darksiders bores an immediately eye-catching style, with grossly large weapons and stylized characters. Joe Madureira, a penciler for the Uncanny X-Men comics, was involved on the production, so it makes sense, and it's an appealing style which matches the grand storytelling. It also looks technically great too, boasting quality texture work, a bright yet gothic style, and mostly smooth performance outside of a few dips in clustered combat encounters. The sound is also bombastic. The voice work borders on cheesy, especially Mark Hamill's ghoulish turn as the Watcher, who cackles in delight when torturing War, but the delivery fits the summer blockbuster vibe.
Remember that, or I will really get under your skin.
Squeamish sounds for combat, such as brutal decapitations, also hit the spot. The music does the job in trying to sound epic, though it doesn't quite stand out enough to be memorable, sadly. There's no getting around Darksiders' patchwork nature. There's even an on-rails flying segment which harks back to Panzer Dragoon, of all things. Despite its divergent inspirations, Vigil Games would somehow stitch it all together to form a cohesive, compelling, and entertaining experience. Impactful combat, intelligent puzzling, and a compelling setting and story meld together to keep you hooked. Mix in a distinctive style and satisfying exploration, and it's a great time. While those looking for something wholly original might turn their noses up at Darksiders, action-adventure aficionados should have a lot of fun.